Hello and welcome to our next painting collection. Today is Friday, I'm going to say it, September 9th. Very special day, 9/9/2022. And we're starting a new painting collection. We're super excited. Thanks for already being here. And I know someone's going to join us in a bit. And if you're watching from the future, this is what we did or what we started in September 9th, 19. Jan, how are you?
No. I wonder, I mean, 9999. I mean, that sounds pretty special. What did we do on that day? I wonder.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, thanks for being here. Also, super excited. I just chose an image. We're gonna start sketching. We're gonna do all the steps. And so I've never done this before. I always take the opportunity to do self-portraiture throughout, I would say, my painting career. It's been something that I found has given me an opportunity to do a portrait without needing a model, something original, and also an opportunity to self-study. I've always taken it from that point of view. So this week we chatted with Chloe about the chapter of the book, This Dark Country, regarding in respect to Vanessa Bell, and she did a lot of self-portraits at some point, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But if you want to start like bringing some, Jen, or looking for some, because it's very interesting why she used self-portraiture. Anyhow, so as usual, when we decide on one element, or I'm just going to share the screen because I think this is really, let me see if I can, hold on one second. And I promise I will be able to catch up if you're starting already. But I just wanted to really briefly, because it's a little corny, but immediately when I saw the album cover, and I thought, yes, this is something that we've never done before, and I think we should do it. So just wanted to show the cover of this duet, and immediately I think the song sucks because you cannot hear her. It's just such a bad remix. So I don't know. I like the original song, obviously, but this was a really rehashed, not very thoughtful. I don't know. But this album cover just made me happy to see Britney and Elton when they were kids before things happened. So I thought it would be interesting to do that. And these are my two images. I have a folder somewhere here, but I didn't have enough. So this is the only thing that I got at hand. But this is me and my brother, my dad, and our dog.
Oh,
And the rice fields that I
Leo.
grew up. My grandfather was a farmer, so my dad started working on the fields when he was young, and then he moved on to something else. But
Oh,
yeah.
so precious. I can see your dad in there. I mean, obviously, but I only know your dad is at a certain age, and I
Yeah,
can see
so
that too. So great.
oh, so yeah, so I just like cropped it because we were just talking and debating. It's hard to find images of us by ourselves. I have some, I don't know where, but I think I decided just to crop it. And what I'm gonna do, because I feel like this is a little cringy, this image. I mean, I like it, but I'm just gonna do myself with the horizon line. I think that's going to be a little bit more. I like this image also, but I think that's my thought process. I saw the image, I wanted to do the whole thing. I thought it was really beautiful, and then kind of like have it as a painting to give to my dad or my brother. I don't know, but then I just decided, no, I'm just going to stick with this image because I think I didn't have the chance to actually sort of like spend time with it. So that was one of the things that started happening. Just I saw the image and I thought, okay, this is really nice to have this opportunity to go back. So anyhow, so that's what I'm going to do. And I just found I wanted a stronger support, but I just found I couldn't find, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the 9x12, but I found 12x16 Masonite with a weird plasticky cover. So I'm gonna do it with this format. So as usual, we talk about formats first. You decide the format, you decide the composition, orientation first, and then after that, we're gonna retrofit the image into the format. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. A little charcoal. Here we go. And I don't know, I have to think a little bit about it, but I think I'm gonna enlarge the image a little bit. Yeah, I'm just gonna enlarge the image. Oh, the charcoal is not very good in here. What? What? I'm gonna use something else because charcoal doesn't work. It's too slippery. Okay, this will be a quick sketch, I guess. So I'm gonna enlarge the image. There's something that I love about, or the way I cropped it. Just gonna be essentially building the space between the top and the upper edge and the top and the bottom and the lower edge. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna start with a silhouette. A brief silhouette. Let me see, the middle point. Is the middle point my waist? Yes, it is. So what I'm gonna do right off the bat, sometimes with figures, we start with the head and then we tend to make things larger and then we start building, and we only have like a small space for the legs, which is kind of like what happened to the Michelle Obama official portrait. We were talking about it yesterday in great detail and how the proportions feel so odd, especially compared to Barack's official painting. So yeah, one example of why you should start figures like from the center, so to give enough room for the legs. So that's what I'm gonna do. So again, I'm just calculating. So this is half point. So I'm gonna do half point, a little bit lower. And then from the half point, I think what I'll do is just do the torso. The torso and the hand, which is below. And then I will do the leg. So I'm just gonna be super sloppy because this is not a very good sketching material. In fact, I am going to switch gears. So I'm gonna continue with this, but I'm gonna use a traditional, a very traditional approach already. So why not? So I'm gonna use burnt sienna and a small brush, and I'm gonna start sketching. Yeah, I'm gonna start sketching with a small brush. So this will be still sketch, but because the charcoal is really bad on these kind of plasticky surfaces, I'm just gonna use a very traditional approach, which means lots of turpentine, small brush, and I'm sketching like right now. And you know, the thing about this, if I do a silhouette, potato shape or whatever, I can really, with this slippery, I can really wipe it off. So it just gives me still the flexibility that I want. That flexibility that I do want. So let me see. So I said half point and half point. So from the half point, is it a third? My head? No, my head, it's a big head. Kids have big heads compared to their bodies. So I'm just gonna do, yeah, the head like this. And I had already like a super big forehead, I guess. And I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna do too much detail here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do my first silhouette. So very important when you do the figure, because I have a feeling that I need to move things. Yeah, I am going to. So I'm gonna wipe this off entirely already, because I started doing this And I'm realizing that even though I think it's in the middle, it's not quite in the middle. It's a little bit towards the left, more than I would want to. So let's analyze and take this as an example. And please observe your image reference, whatever it is, because also if you don't have an image of yourself at handy, you don't have to use it. You could use someone else's, your child when they were younger, or someone else. It doesn't matter. So, and also it doesn't matter if it's a single figure. Don't feel confined to only do or select an image that it's only one single figure. By all means, if there are more than one figure and there's an adult, of course, we just kind of like gave those parameters as a guideline, but it doesn't mean like you have to abide by them. But if I analyze this, and that would be interesting as well, because reminds me of the composition of the Blue Boy, Gainsborough Blue Boy. But I'm like 3/4 perspective. So my face is not facing forward. My face is facing like 3/4 to the left. Also, I have one step also on the left side, a little bit forward, more than the right. The right leg is a little bit shorter. So there's sort of like already the weight of the figure is already moving or weighting towards the left of the composition, the way I cropped it. So usually and very traditionally, when you do a 3/4 perspective, not that you have to do it like that, but compositionally, it's better to give more space where the face or the body is facing than the other side. So, and why is that? So it's not because of capricious whim of somebody that's dictated that that's the way to go and wrote it in the Bible of rules of how to compose an image. It's because perception wise, if you have an image of someone who is already looking at a direction, it kind of like gives you this idea of pulling towards that direction. So even though the person may be in the middle, in the exact mathematical middle of the composition, visually, the figure will look like it's tilting or weighting towards that side and not right in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my figure a little bit more towards the right, a little bit more, exaggerating the sort of like unevenness, unbalancing that composition, giving much more space to the front of the figure. Let's see what happens. Sorry, that was a long explanation, but I'm just gonna move it a tad. Okay, Jen, how is your album of images?
So I found 3, but I haven't uploaded them yet. I'm still, is that good or bad?
What do you mean? Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I should have said something more specific. Of course, yeah, of course. I wasn't expecting. No, did you think of maybe just looking back and seeing images of yourself as a child? Or do you have a place where you have images? You don't have to share anything, but is it something that you have in abundance?
I actually really do. And that's the reason why. Well, there's many reasons. Number one is that I was the firstborn of like the firstborn. So there are, I was the first grandchild. I was the first, so of course there's tons of pictures. And then something, I don't know, strange for my profession is that a lot of times I have to have pictures of myself as a little girl to have like on set or
interesting,
like in plays. I had to have so I've had to over time gather pictures of myself. I wonder if our other actresses have had to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have them kind of handy. And then I was just home in June and took a bunch of pictures that I had from like high school and college and that age home with me. So Yeah, I have quite a bit actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I love
nice.
it. I actually really, really love pictures of my brother when
Uh,
he was a little boy, because he's a redhead
uh-huh.
and had, freckles, like the whole thing.
Oh.
And he's so cute. I mean, his hair was so red, so red. It's gotten blonder as he's gotten older, but
Uh-huh.
he's just so cute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. It's interesting to see yourself. Well, it's not only interesting to see yourself when you were young, but it's interesting to see those images as you grow older. I feel like I have a different
Hmm.
experience now
Oh my
than I
gosh,
had,
totally.
yeah, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
There's something like when I went home this last time, I just sat with my mom and we just looked at pictures for hours. And there was something, I don't know, so um romantic about it.
Uh-huh.
I think too, like to sit with tactile photos
Yeah.
feels very different than like scrolling through your phone as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah. 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 No,
But
definitely.
I have friends that grew up in like amongst artists, and when I say artists, I'm specifically mean painters.
Yeah.
And in their like beach house that they went to every summer, instead of photos, their dad or their aunt or their cousin would paint them. And so their life is through paintings.
Wow.
And it's wild. I mean, it's like this most special thing ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How
That
about that?
is next level.
That is next level.
Yep. That is next level. Yeah, interesting. Um, cool. Well, I'm just kind of like going about I'm going about the sketch, and just because this is so shiny, I have no idea what's going to happen with the surface. But it allows me to do that. I could not do this with paper, just because again, this allows me to kind of like wipe things off really easily. I could not do this with, maybe with canvas I could, just because, just depends on the canvas. But on this kind of like plasticky surface, this is actually a good way to, yeah, to sketch. So a couple of things. If it's a full figure, just exaggerate curves. I think one of the things that happens when we do it, it's not our fault, by the way, but when we do figures, is we kind of like make them very boxy, robotic, static, very totemic, and they feel super flat and brutalist, which is not bad. But at the same time, I think every time we get an opportunity to do a figure, we should explore going beyond that robotic, stage. So how do you do that? Well, I just try to kind of like look at each of the silhouettes and the lines, and I try to force my eyesight to find the curvature of the line, especially on the legs and the hands and the arms, obviously. So on this one, I'm just gonna even exaggerate. And this is something that there was one, I think it was a sub movement in a bigger movement. I think it was part of the Baroque, but the Mannerist painters, I'm not sure which century. I'm thinking like 17th century. I have no idea. I think 17th century. Yeah. Uh, there was a Baroque movement. I don't know if it was part of the Baroque or not, the Mannerism. And El Greco, the Spanish painter, is the most famous representation or example of mannerism, in which everything is exaggerated. The hands, not only the gestures of the hands, but the bones, the everything. So when you approach a figure, um, the challenge is to escape the brutalist rendition and embrace mannerism. And for that, you need to go beyond what you see. You need to exaggerate. You need not to be afraid of creating something that to your eye, it may look weird because it's challenging. It's not about skill. It's not about if we're better or not better or whatever. It's about practice, like everything. It's about practice. Okay, so I think that's my potato shape. I'm gonna do the horizon line of the rice field back here. And yeah, I have like many memories of, I have many memories of that time. I used to, I wasn't really into, going into the field because the rice field, because to grow rice, you need water. The rice needs to be submerged in water all the time. So it's like a marsh, there's always water on mud, and I was always panicky to put my foot inside of that mud, just because I had no idea what was in that mud. So yeah, I wasn't a very good helper. My dad did the work, but I wasn't chasing at things, which I'm very proud of. I wasn't chasing at frogs. I was looking at frogs. I wasn't doing anything weird with snails. I was just looking at snails. But yeah, frogs and snails, and yeah, that was all I did. And nature, I'm so thankful for the childhood that I had, just being able to go to an open field and hear noises and smells and the light. So being in nature was really amazing. I'm gonna do the grounding. This was at the edge. So my grandfather had different fields. And this one, I mean, he was a landowner and a farmer at the same time. So they had different fields, but this one was my favorite just because in this field there was a plot of land, or a piece of land where our family grew vegetables, tomatoes and potatoes and stuff like that. So it was dry ground, so it was a little bit more fun. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm interested in this composition, and notice the difference. It may not, I exaggerate a little bit more the position. It may not make it look like it's a big deal, but I'm very happy to have much more space on the front than the back. It kind of like gives more of conceptual meaning to what's happening here. Not to mention that it also gives room to that kinetic energy of moving forward, of projecting forward, of taking a first step forward. So again, just consider when you retrofit, spaces around the focal points are so important. So I'm going to do my structural lines. I'm not going to rush. So structural lines, I never analyze my look, but I see now my buttoned up shirt, and I love that. I think I still do things like that, buttoning up all the way up, and also rolling up the sleeves. I love long sleeves. So it's funny because I think you do. You get a sense of style when you are a child, when you're very young. And some parents, or in some circumstances, parents that reinforce that style. That wasn't the case for me. Not because there was any ill intention behind it. I think, my mom bought the clothes, and I remember going to the market, the farmer's market, which was where we would buy stuff. It was once a week, and we would go there to get fruits and vegetables. And also you would buy clothes there, and you would buy houseware there. So usually at the time, the people, how should I say this? People who, the gypsies, because, the gypsy community in Spain, so it is traditionally known for being entrepreneurs and having their own businesses, especially in retail and commerce. So yeah, they would come and they would just sell clothes. So I just remember I think my mom said, which one do you like? Which things do you like best? So, and I picked, but it wasn't really a choice. I say this because I learned later in life that culturally in Italy, there is a very strong sense of awareness of children and their parents to make sure that that's not just something random or something unimportant or mundane. There is a whole tradition of finding identity in sartorial choices when you're young, whether it comes from you or whether your parents foster that. It's not a coincidence that a lot of fashion designers are Italian, or a lot of the homes, I mean, the houses, the fashion houses. And I'm not saying every single Italian child, obviously, but I think in my case, yeah, it wasn't something. Yeah, it wasn't something. But I'm saying all this because I see things in this image that I still like today, which makes me happy. I was not comparing, but I was thinking, how is this close to the okay, so Britney Spears in that photograph is dancing, performing. So obviously they chose that image because as an adult, she became a performer. Elton John is in front of a piano. Obviously they chose that image because then as an adult, he became, a songwriter and singer. And I thought something about me in front of the rice fields. Maybe this is like, the future ruthless painter, that's it. It's very south of France.
There you go. You're ready. Just give that boy an easel. He's in the plein air perfection right now. And look at all those browns,
right?
Your favorites. Neutral browns, your faves.
There you go. That's hilarious. Yeah, anyhow, I wonder, Jen, if you can recall any images that have that seed in who you became later, not who you became, that's a really big word, but sort of like your passion. Not even, it doesn't have to do anything to do with job or career, but sort of like your passion, do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have quite a few different.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I loved the stage. I loved it. I always wanted to be on it. I wanted them to pick me. I want, for whatever child thing you did. I was not a shy child. Not that I was obnoxious. I mean, I hope I wasn't obnoxious, but yeah, even like at the end of a performance, like of something, like my mom would like put me on the stage and take a picture, even if I wasn't like a part of it whatsoever. So, and I was always beaming.
You were always what? I'm sorry?
like beaming with
Oh,
smiles.
oh,
Um, oh, I wonder if I could find one.
oh.
I bet. I bet I could find one by the end of the session.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, no, I mean, no.
And then yeah, I danced from a small age, young age too. So that for sure. I definitely have those that Britney Spears moment until like high school or college, really. Um,
Good.
but yeah, I mean, obviously, not obviously, but through once I became like a teenager, for sure, like plenty
Right,
of.
right.
But even when I was little, like 3, 4, 5, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I think that's just so interesting and beautiful. Yeah, so interesting and beautiful.
Henry's just gonna be the painting you have of him in front of his computer.
Oh my
My
God.
mom's best friend painted this of me, and now I'm a engineer at blah blah blah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I'm here for it. I'm
Me
here
too.
for it. Will be so interesting. Wow.
Oh,
I love
man.
that photo. That
Yeah,
photo.
for those of you listening that don't know what we're talking about, we did a series of children self-unlearning is what we called it. And it was during the pandemic when all the kiddos were at their computer and had to do um,
Everything remotely.
remote. That's what I'm trying to say. Remote learning through COVID. And Julio did a painting of Henry for me for, I guess it was my birthday.
Sure.
Or I think, or maybe you just,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, it's very sweet. It's beautiful. It's in our bedroom,
Wow.
and it's him in front of his school issued computer at like 6 a.m. or maybe not that early, but probably like 8. And his hair is all
Mhm.
spiked up, and he's got that kiddo thing going on. I'll post it to this one, to this album,
Oh,
to
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
piece.
yeah, yeah. I think that'd be really interesting.
That'd be cute.
Um, oh, I just actually I missed using burnt sienna for sketching. I missed using burnt sienna. I just forgot how wonderful it is actually. Yeah, I'm gonna start using some colors, but that was I think someone else will join us later. I think Laura also registered, so I wonder if she's gonna join us later or
Great. And yeah, shout out to Lois, because I know she sketches a lot with paint, and I think that
yeah,
she uses burnt sienna a lot when
yep,
she does.
yep, yep, absolutely. Something really good about this that kind of like puts you ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because you can achieve something already loose and painterly. Um, yeah, I would leave it for people with some practice because I feel like there is something nice about charcoal that the way uh, we see people that have never painted before or they haven't painted in a long time. I feel like charcoal gives them such solace, grounding,
Solace, yeah.
solace. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we could see it in their faces. After a few minutes, they feel like really okay. I can get into this. Um, but at the same time, I feel like this makes it a lot more exciting just because of that looseness and painterly aspect.
Go figure. Lois just said that she used charcoal today.
Oh,
You guys switch.
that's funny. Okay, yeah, go for it. Um, Amazing. So yeah, I think this was a good, I'm glad that I went in with this sort of like arranging mentality, deciding how big, just guiding myself by the space rather than just measuring the figure. I just decided to anchor first the two spots, the top of the bottom and the bottom. So I would know exactly how much space would be left above and below. And once I had the spot, what I did was follow basic proportions. And in this case, just follow the halves. I tried to see if there was a third, but I tried to find out the middle point because of that thing that happens with legs that no instructor has ever told me um, in my, yeah, it's never, that was not something that I was taught in art school, let me tell you. Um, but anyhow, I'm just gonna go ahead and start blocking. I'm blocking out um, darks. So I'm gonna do darks. Um, so anyhow, so yesterday we were just talking about Vanessa Bell, the Bloomsbury Group painter, how amazing she was. She was an incredible painter and took a lot of risks, and stylistically she had a, I felt like she was an architect with paint because the paintings are so well built. It's incredible. So they moved to this farm just because they wanted to escape the city and all the societal constraints. That's right, yeah, societal constraints. And then so they could paint and write and stuff like that. And then one of her main love interests, Duncan Grant, who is possibly the most famous, unfortunately, and fortunately, I don't know, I like his work and I like him, but he's the most well-known painter of the Bloomsbury Group. But so they became romantically involved in a platonic way, just because he was gay, but they had a really beautiful relationship. And they painted together most of the time. They were in the studio and they were doing portraits with a live sitter. And they were doing, there are a lot of like paintings. In fact, I don't know, someone shared one article comparing, I don't know if Jen, you can find it. Someone compiled images of Vanessa Bell and Duncan Grant and put them side by side. So it's the same subject, but done differently because each one of them did one of the paintings. And it was really interesting because you could see the strength of her work. I know where I'm heading with this. The idea is that at some point, well, because he was a man, he started to get credibility and acknowledgement. He started to sell more. He started to get recognition. Art critics started to write more about him, and she didn't. So that made her feel really doubtful and also insecure and conflicted. She had a crisis. She felt her work was bad compared to his, and she started comparing her entire practice. It was so bad that she decided not to work with him anymore, and she kind of like moved her art studio somewhere else. And at that point, she started to focus more on self-portraiture because that was the subject that would make her feel authentic, would sort of like no one would actually co-opt or appropriate, and would provide the opportunity for her to actually find some security or so that's why she did quite a bit of self-portraits. And to bring this kind of like mini dissertation full circle, I felt reading that, I felt a connection in the sense that in art school, I started to do more self-portraits because that was the subject, number one, that I knew more, number two, that no one else could do, or was interested in doing, obviously. And also it provided an opportunity for me to explore or do more of a self-study. So ever since that experience, I always gravitated to considering self-portraiture an important topic on an artist's career. And then I realized that obviously we don't do these things alone, or we don't come up with these things just because, you know, I started looking at artists that also use the same thing in that manner. Edward Munch, for example, used self-portraiture in that way, you know, as a self-study or study of the self. And that's a work that it's not as famous as The Scream and stuff like that, but it is the most important work. Yeah, I'm gonna start. I need to put my palette together. I haven't done it, but I'm really happy by so far, but by the decisions that I took, you know, especially compositionally. You can have, as we say all the time, you can have a hyper detailed painting that has a weak composition and you won't be able to take it to the next level. You could have a painting that has a strong arrangement and have no detail at all, and that gives you an incredible advantage. And since it's us, I know this will be this is recorded, but it sounds to me, Jen, there are no dates because they're keeping this under wraps as of, I guess, 10 a.m. this morning. I think we will be there when the final stage of the funeral of Queen Elizabeth actually happens.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, we leave in a week, and then our other two artists on here leave within a couple days after us. So yeah, that would make sense that we would be there.
Yeah,
for quite a bit of things.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of excited in a way.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It just makes me, I mean, not that I don't think so I was reading that Monday the 19th, the day we start our retreat, it seems like that's going to be the sort of like whole fireworks thing of the funeral.
Oh, wow.
So that's, yeah, it's not going to affect us, but it's just going to be really, the city is going to be really crazy. London's going to be really crazy. We're going to be at the cathedral. So I need to talk to, yeah, you're right, Lois. we need to talk to Chloe and see if the cathedral, Salisbury Cathedral, is doing something because we're going to be at the cloisters on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anything's going to change, but it'd be interesting to find out. And yeah. They haven't said anything.
I was going to say the words, what a time to be alive, but that is incredibly insensitive.
No.
What a time to be, I guess, maybe in the UK.
I know, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. I feel like we're going to feel the energy, even though we're not going to be there. Yeah, it's going to be quite something. So
when does Charles, does he have like a whole ceremony?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so confusing because, you know, a lot of people are just saying this is what happens 24 hours after she dies, and then this flag comes up, and then D+2 and D+3, kind of like saying.
Mm.
So there's a whole, I think he goes on a tour. I think this coming week he's going all over the UK. So today at 11 their time, he was officially confirmed as whatever, the next monarch. So
Okay.
yeah, but I don't think they've published any agenda, you know, and saying, okay, that's what, because it seems like people are just pulling from resources and not really saying it. The 19th at, you know, at 9 in the morning. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see. But it sounds that, you know, they want to make it a bank holiday. So that's going to be Monday. It sounds like the Monday, it's going to be like the event, the day we start painting.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to get food for everyone then. Right? Because are there any of the will any of the restaurants be open?
Oh, you're right. Okay, that's a good question. I think we need to check,
We'll
but
have
most cities going
to,
to be shut.
yeah, we'll have to
We need
do
to
some
prepare.
grocery shopping and provide
Yep.
something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we need to prepare. Yeah. Okay, good point. It's not going to affect traveling. I mean, everyone has everything booked, so I
Okay.
think it's just going to be fine. Airports are fine. I think the transfer. Oh, Lois, yeah, you are traveling that day. You're traveling that day. Yeah. All right. So maybe we're arranging a pickup. I think Chloe wants to know the flight details and stuff. Oh no, you're taking the train, so that's a different story. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. You know what's funny? They're canceling all the strikes that week, next week.
What?
I know.
How
So
can you do that?
I guess by decree or whatever. So apparently there were, yeah, it's funny. They were, yeah. Okay, perfect, Lois. So don't worry, the trains will work. The luggage will show, because they were talking about doing strikes, public transportation being affected, but no, banned.
Wow.
So there you go. It's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I hope this is okay to say. I think I'm in a safe space to say this, but just like the memorabilia and everything that will
Yeah.
come out.
Yep. Absolutely, Jen. Absolutely.
Maybe we'll do like a little walk by Buckingham on
I think we should.
Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Sunday. I think something, um, everything's supposed to be kind of like back to normal after that Monday, but I'm pretty sure, yeah.
We'll see like flowers or something for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So now when like that flag is up, is that for King Charles?
Which
Is it
flag?
in, you know how it's like if the flag is flying, the queen is in the palace?
Oh, I guess.
Does it just automatically transfer to him?
Yeah, I guess. I guess. I don't know. It's not a very popular figure, so it's interesting because people have strong opinions already.
Hmm.
But I think, you know, the whole protocol thing, they've been practicing this stuff. They love this stuff. They love it.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, okay, I'm just doing, I feel like there's a lot of red. I'm doing some color testing. I'm done with the wash. Oh, Lois, we're not gonna say anything, but the Irish Twitter and the Black Twitter, okay? That's all we're going to say. It's been actually quite, yeah. We can talk about it later. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah, so more red. I feel like more red. So there's a lot of pink here. You know what? I think I need to bring brown paint for this. Alizarin, I actually love working with this kind of like reds. So right now I'm at the first color notes stage, brown paint. So first color notes, as we know, two major things happen. Yeah. Yeah, yes, yes. It's I hope people take this opportunity. All globally, we take this opportunity to kind of like build something new. I agree. So yeah, I'm gonna bring reds, the brown, pink. It's such an amazing color. Wow, everything's very red. Should I bring some cadmium red? Some cadmium. I'm not sure. Let me do that. Some cadmium red. And see what happens. No, no cadmium red. What is this? What is this pink? Should I bring purple? I'm just gonna bring this crazy purple and mix it. So first color notes, it's always, it's a stage in which we experiment with color. We start studying the color. Yeah, it's gonna be that color. Wow, totally surprised. I'm totally surprised. It's the stage in which we are experimenting and starting to create our own color palette. There's blue in this. Why is there blue? Yeah, there is blue. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to start with this kind of like mixtures of purples, and there's a very specific tone. And I think we have to be careful because sometimes we associate things with colors. Okay, and at the same time, I'm just going to give myself some freedom too. But I'm at the first color notes. So edge quality. Edge quality. Yeah, edge quality and color notes. I'm using oil. And here we go. Because of this shiny, slippery surface, my colors are, my brushstrokes are really streaky, but I'm embracing that. Time-wise, yeah, perfect. One hour, halfway through. I think that's pretty good. Edge quality and color palette. I think that's the best way to kind of like approach it. The more I look at portraits that follow representation but are open to accidental stuff, the more I fall in love with them. Alice Neel portrait of the Spanish boy. It's so charming. It's so beautiful. it shows such strong spirit, such conviction in painting. It's not shy or timid. I think that exudes through the brushstrokes. I love that so much. I think of all the portraits that we featured in the presentation, I think that's my favorite just because of that style is very strong. Of course, the Berthe Morisot, she's such a, what is the sword sport, Jen? Fencing. She's a fence athlete, not a painter. It's just amazing how she kind of like cuts the canvas with strokes and creates something incredible. Yeah, that's also really beautiful. And Mary Cassatt, yeah, her color palette and composition, so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, so I am moving forward with this kind of like purplish tone. And I'm gonna put the same purple tone. So yeah, I just, I'm going to add this on my portrait. And then don't think too much. I'm not gonna think too much on where it falls, what it looks like, at least at the beginning. I was working on my self-portrait yesterday and it started all over the place, but right now I like it so much. So I think I'm gonna apply the same approach to this. I know that this will take many turns, but for now, like the head's a little bit too big. So I'm gonna lower that a little bit. That's okay. And then again, like as we always say, just go all over the place. All over the place. Meaning don't spend too much time in one area. There's such harmony in colors here that I think I'm gonna use that on the painting. I'm gonna use that color harmony. Okay, so shad's very important. So I'm spending some time. And then I just want to find the tone of the pants. So let me just practice. So experimenting on the palette. Okay, that's very light. I'm gonna bring some black to it. That it's very warm. I'm gonna bring some brown pink. That's starting to look much more like the color. Okay, so I think I got it. So see my kind of like color process. I do something approximate and then I apply it and I test it. Too light, too dark. That's my first criteria. And then I try to either bring black or just bring like a darker tone and then decide if it has too much blue or too much red, or if it needs to be warmer or if it needs to be cooler. And then I take it from there. I take it from there. Flicker your eyes back and forth all the time. Don't worry too much about the look of the brushstroke and where it falls. Here we go. Yeah, just kind of like back and forth. Maybe this could be, it could be raw umber. Yeah. Mhm. I'm starting to add some whites, although maybe I should wait to bring highlights. Just enjoying this part of the, yeah, I'm just gonna wait a little bit more. Okay, so I think I spent some time with the clothes, with the top and the shorts, and I am, oh, I think I am. Okay, so maybe sort of like, is it better? I think so. I'm just gonna put the microphone on. Here we go. Jen, how does it sound? Is it a little, can you hear me?
Yeah, Lois said it was good now. I think she just needed to reconnect.
Okay.
But I feel like whatever you just did made it worse.
Okay.
Hold on, speak a little bit.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me just okay, is that better right now?
Oh, so what happened is Lois's husband drove up and it switched her switched her sound to his car.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was connected like Bluetooth, so it was on her. So it's
Okay.
all good.
Okay,
We were
okay, okay,
fine.
okay, okay.
I hate it when that happens. Technology, man.
I know.
I think we are in retrograde, right?
Yes, officially today.
La la.
Good day.
Soup's fun.
Mercury retrograde. It's okay.
Oh, Lois just said, what does that mean? Daniel, you take the reins.
The retrograde. Well,
Yes.
you know, people just, it's sort of like it's not bad, but people always try to find something to blame when things don't work out. And then Mercury retrograde is a concept in which, you know, astronomically, it's not even astrologically, but astronomically, there are different points through the journey of each of the planets in the solar system that, from our point of view, from the Earth, they look like they're going backwards. And it's not because they actually go backwards, but it's just because of the orbit situation makes them look like they're not moving forward. So Mercury in astrology has been associated always with, and this is not astronomy, but has always been associated with communication. Mercury is like the messenger, and yeah, anything that has to do with communication, transportation, and I don't know what else. So when people say now Mercury is going backwards, they're saying, okay, watch, because anything related to communications and transportations have a tendency to malfunction. You know, some astrologers say this is total nonsense, and of course every single scientist will tell you this is total nonsense, but you know, people kind of like use it in their, I think more and more people use it in their, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, be careful. It's entertainment, but yeah. Just if you are interested, the next Mercury retrograde happens during these upcoming November elections. So a lot of astrologers are already saying there are going to be delays in the results. And on top of it, there's an eclipse that happens that day. So since last year, people were kind of saying, oh, okay, November, it's going to be crazy. When is it not crazy? Seriously. It's so easy to be an astrologer these days. Okay.
Oh, seriously.
Right? It's okay. Something bad's gonna happen next week, of course.
Don't say that, Julio.
No. But I'm making a joke. It's like,
Okay, good.
yeah, these days everyone can be an astrologer and say something like that. All right, so I'm just working on the skin tone. And again, the idea is I don't know, to work on edge quality, I need to find and color palette. I love this color palette, actually. I never thought of the color palette of this painting. Rice fields. What do we do with rice fields? What color? Brown pink is such a great color. Such a great color. So much red. So much red. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So it takes a while to kind of like pick up colors. It takes a while. And they don't have to be specific or match that well, but it's interesting because when you kind of like compare like this, you'll be able to actually make discoveries, like color discoveries. And I love the fact that the rice and my shirt harmonize a little bit. I think that's kind of cool. I'm gonna start fading things. I'm gonna fade things. I love fading edges when two colors are very similar, making it look like I'm blending with the rice field. Oh yeah, sometimes it's so predictable. I'm gonna go for it. It's so predictable to delineate the silhouette with a hard contrast. But I think the interesting thing is when, you don't get that. So I'm deciding right now that I'm going to be working on peripheral areas and color blocking them. And I'm using other colors for that. Okay, so here we go. Aww. Yeah. So that this area, there are still some farmers that they still have rice fields. Some of them are from the same families that have been doing it for generations, but most of the rice fields were dried up and then things were built on them, because that's like a big oh yeah, big lands at the same time. So this is located on a delta. It's the confluence between a really big river in Spain and then the Mediterranean Sea. So the land's very flat and it's barely above sea level. So yeah, it's been years that people were saying that, this was not going to be sustainable. So the land is already retreating. And the surges that happen in storms are already ruining rice fields that are closer to the sea. When there's a storm surge, yeah, the crop is ruined completely, but the land is not usable anymore, or it takes a long time. I don't know how it works exactly. So all the plots that are have been closer to the sea, it's done. That thing is just, it's over. It's over. It's really, and this has been happening for much longer than when we started listening more about climate change. I think it was with the Gore documentary. I think it was the 2000, was released in the 2000. So I remember before then that people were in the area that were talking about farmers and how were they going to cope with the rising level of water in the Delta, even before it became mainstream. What's funny is that, most people, because we had these conversations with my parents, and I always ask them, are people selling the land? So it's interesting. The farmers, they didn't sell the land. They just kept, yeah. There wasn't a massive exodus of farmers just kind of like saying, okay, that's it, I'm done. They kept it, and they still have it. So it also, I think I forgot which year was this. I think it was late 70s. Or yeah, I would say it was late 70s or mid 70s. I'm not sure, maybe late 70s. My dad went on to open up a factory with other two partners making terrazzo for floors. And at the time, it was for many years, people still kind of like cultivated rice, but I feel like it was in the late 80s, more competitors kind of like came in the market. So the rice from China and India started to be much cheaper than this. So that was another thing that happened. Sorry, just looking at. I'm gonna look for the color of the skin right below here and see which color it is. I keep making it less. Okay, it's just gonna bring this brown thing everywhere. I'm changing the drawing also because I realize that some areas they need major adjustments. So this leg needs to be moved. Wait. So moving this leg, and I'm going to do the shadows on this leg. And I think that's good. I'm going to bring these two colors together and see what happens. Maybe it's a little bit too dark, but that's okay. Again, the peripheral areas, super important. And blend or diffuse or fade some of the edges when you see them, because that's creates such beautiful effect on a painting. Let the viewer draw those lines for you. You don't have to make them clear for them. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do with this. Just kind of like setting up some boundaries between color blocking, but at the same time, fading stuff. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go, oh, I love this. I love this. Time-wise, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. I don't know, Lois, should I say it? I have someone in mind. I have two people in mind. I'm not gonna say it. Can we extend this to 4 instead of 3? I'll say it later. But I have 2 high on my list. Really high.
OMG.
Yeah. Anyhow, so yeah. Let's go back to, yeah, let's go back to skin tones. Okay, bone structure. Let's do this. Let's have a little bit of fun. Some, you know, your painting, Lois, by the way, of Ciclavia was just so spectacular. And also, I wish people would have, I know you posted it on the stories, but your process was also very amazing. The way you set up this underpainting first, that was so abstract and so color blocked. And then that underpainting just allowed you to start popping those brushstrokes to create the effect of crowd and movement and constant flow. So yeah, this idea of, like, I'm gonna quote popcorn painting, meaning just popping strokes without blending them too much. I think that is good. So sometimes we feel like everything needs to be smooth, combed and polished and buffed and seamless. But no, I just feel like that's boring. So I'm trying to get some popcorn going here, inspired by your painting, which it's in a safe place in this household. So whenever we meet again, I will bring it to you. And if you need it, I can meet you anywhere. But yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to incorporate, this idea of popcorn effect. I'm gonna do some sfumato also on the edges. I love that the photograph is not sharp. I love that. So there's something really cool about this blurriness. I love this painting so much already. So we've been doing some amazing work in this past series. I feel so happy that I was able to finish a few pieces. So I'm just bringing some sfumato here to make it a little bit more unpredictable, a little bit more mysterious. Yeah, and again, not spending too much time. I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay. All right, I'll do that. I'll put it on the, we'll put it on the website. Okay, so I did a little bit more work on the head. I am just I'm gonna go to other parts. So do I have a strategy? I don't have a strategy. I am just gonna continue, and I'm gonna take a little break from the figure, and I'm gonna do the peripheral area of the ground, which has more pink. So I'm gonna bring that pink on the ground. I haven't even tested it, but I'll just bring this. And I also want to pierce. There's too much separation, too much compartmentalization. I don't even know how you pronounce that. Compartmentalization, compartmentalizing, probably it's better. Between the ground and the field. So I'm gonna start piercing, breaking it up. Yeah, I think that makes a huge difference. Huge, 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 huge. So excited for our trip, you guys, to experience this together with you. And yeah. We're gonna send a few more emails about ideas to pack things, weather forecast, and it's gonna be much cooler. Temperatures hovering 60s and lower at nighttime. So this is something that's going to be nice. I know, Jen, you're looking forward to it.
I cannot wait to get out of this heat for sure. Give me all the hoodies and the layers and the warm drinks.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be. I just checked, and it's been raining a lot this week. I think we're going to have much less rain when we're there, but we'll see. It's going to be fine. So, yeah, I think that was a good decision to bring this kind of like colors. And since it's textured, I'm just gonna follow this direction, color direction. And then I'm gonna bring some really pale notes. Oh, this is so, I'm sorry, but I think this is beautiful.
It is, it's gorgeous, my friend.
Oh, we need to give ourselves credit more often. Otherwise, who else? You know, we need to start with us.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, let's just bring some highlights. I think it could be a good time to bring some white. Yeah, we'll definitely experience autumn there for sure. It's gonna be a nice day because I just left this morning to print this out, and I feel like I'm under one of those old school hair dryers, but massive. It's so hot. I was hoping that the temperature was gonna gradually get back to something normal, but what's normal these days? Yeah, some highlights. I like the light direction. I'm glad. You know, I love the way my dad stands behind me. I love on the photograph that his hand is sort of like on my chest, like close to my heart. There's something about that that makes me, you know, so happy, and I love that image. So I was debating and reflecting, and I wasn't sure, because I feel like, you know, just cropping him all together removed that identity and made this figure more generic. So I was concerned and thinking, you know, of innuendos and stuff like that. And but now that I did this by myself, I'm glad, because I don't feel like it's disrespectful to the image. And I love that, you know, that's a single figure. So sometimes we make decisions based on our thoughts, but it's never until we actually realize those decisions that we can fully comprehend the results. So I think in art, in our art process, it's important not to feel curtailed too much by all those thoughts that are involved in decision making. At some point, you make the best possible choice with the best possible, you know, things around you. And by things, I mean thoughts. I think like if you take those chances, in the end, almost all the time, you're going to be much more satisfied or impressed or surprised positively by the results. And to me, that's one of the examples. To me, this is an example of that. That's what I meant. Yeah, just yeah, all this like things that we think. I think I enjoy those things as much I enjoy the painting. Yeah, so I'll bring some highlights in more spots, like calves. And this needs to be brought in a little bit more. So I'm going to bring this radish notes and change the edge of my leg. Okay, bring some darkness. Again, this like this surface is very slippery, and all my brush strokes feel very streaky. But I've worked with this surface before, and you know, it requires a level of flexibility and endurance combined together in order not to feel that whatever challenge comes at you, you know, it's unsurmountable. I don't know.
Insurmountable.
Insurmountable. Thank you, Jen.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes, what's the expression? I bite more than I can chew. That's expression, right? Yeah.
I bite off more than I can chew. Yep,
Yeah.
you got it.
I love using words, but sometimes I get. Anyhow, so yeah, going back to this, this idea that sometimes maybe it's the paint, you don't have the right colors, the medium, it's too sticky and it kind of like sat on the cup for months, and all of a sudden you run out of medium and you don't have anything else to paint with, or something happened, or the surface is slippery or dry, or so I feel like, you know, it's important to build this sort of like endurance to work with what you've got regardless and go through it. it's good. Okay, I'm gonna talking about more than I can, biting more than I can chew. There's hormesis, homeostasis. Okay, I need to find this out because there's a word that I keep hearing. Hormesis. Yeah. Okay, hormesis, I guess. Hormesis. So now people are using this word a lot. So it's applied to the body, and I hear this like, people who exercise a lot and people who are into health and stuff like that. Hormesis is a state in which you create a stress on your body. And the idea is that unless you create a stress on your body, let's say exercise, it's a way of creating stress on your body. Your body won't be able to actually function. So some people, this could be applied to the body in many ways, depending on what foods you eat that contain some things that may stress your system. But that ultimately, it may be a positive thing, The idea is that sometimes stressors are what precisely builds endurance in our systems. And I love this concept of, building endurance through something that's challenging. Because ultimately, to me, this is a good definition for growth. So sometimes in painting, things may be confronting us. And we won't know they're confronting us until they happen, whatever it is. Sometimes, most of the time, it's regarding materials. Something's too wet, I cannot put whites, or the surface is ridiculous, or sometimes those little stressors, if we can get through them, they really build endurance. So yeah, they are welcome. The thing that I'm most excited about, going back to the very beginning, is that I gave enough room to the legs. So again, this idea of, it's not the details that will make your painting stronger. It's the organization, it's the structure, it's the arranging that does it. And then the rest, it's icing on the cake. The rest is icing on the cake. Actually, I love that lavender pink. So I'm going to go back now to the sky, peripheral areas. I kind of like go back constantly from focal point to peripheral area, focal point to peripheral area. And I'm going to bring this lavender. It's really reddish on the photograph. Yeah. Did you get any messages from Laura about today, Jen?
I haven't.
Okay. So I know that she registered. She registered for this, right? Yeah, I think so. I didn't see if there were any notes on the registration. if you can check.
Okay, let me look.
Wow, this is the first time that I used up all the pink. I don't know. I just feel like this pink and this blue have been with us from thick and thin, which is what people use to describe the queen. And I still think that they're such important colors. This and the earth tones. Ah, that's so nice. That's so nice. Okay, so I think that was a good thing. I'm really, really, really happy. So I feel like I'm gonna dedicate that. Still have time, but I wanted to bring some colors here because there's some swaths of green. There are some swaths of green, but you know, before I just bring or make green, I just wanted to, I'm gonna go back to the focal point because I feel I could still work I could still work with that. Okay, there's something about the jaw here that I need to work with. And I am going to do some sfumato. I'm going to do some sfumato just because sfumato is good. It's very good. And I feel like I need it for this. And I also need to shave. My head's too big. I see it now. So I need to shave a little bit of that head on that side. It's too tall. My head is too big. My head's too big. I think I need to lower this head a little bit. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm going to try. I'm gonna try to, usually the top of the head, we shave it too much. So I don't wanna do it here because that's what we generally do. Okay, this is maybe a little better. I need to lighten it up. It's too adult-like. It's too adult-like. I need to bring sheen, reflection. Looks like it's dyed black. I used henna. um, yeah, I think it's a little, it feels like a little, yeah, there's this gray spot here. I don't know what it's doing there. I don't like it. So I don't like it. I need to sfumato the mouth. I turn it into a verb. And remove some of the gray. Yeah, bring some lightness. So again, maybe right now I'm spending too much time on one part of the focal point. And that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. So just gonna go back to other areas that I haven't worked on. Like the shirt. I'm gonna bring some more pink and brown pink on the shirt. Maybe just bringing some color right now. and define it a little bit. It's important to jump. It's important not to overwork one area. So always be on alert, on the lookout for time being spent way too much on one specific area. Just make sure you move to different parts. Maybe I need to bring some highlight on the arm, and I need to bring some highlight on the collar. So right now, maybe I could say that I'm working on second color notes. Second color notes is the time when I actually widen the range of values. I'm a little bit more specific with color direction. So I think that's what I'm doing right now. I think that's what I'm doing right now. Just gonna make the mouth a little bit. And the nose. And the chin. Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, second color notes, and then I'm gonna start bringing more highlights. I feel like this hand could have a little bit more of a highlight than it does have. Yeah, I think that's good. I need to work on that color in the background, because it needs to be. Yeah. A little sfumato. Let's just diffuse that edge. Again, let the viewer draw the silhouette for us. We don't have to do everything. We don't have to do everything. Yeah. Bring those colors in the shaded areas. Total sense. Makes total sense. Makes total sense. I just added a little bit more color on the shadows. I'm gonna lighten this bottom of the shirt. I feel like it's too black and white. So right now I'm just bringing some color here. Bringing some tone, again, using a combination of the color that I have. And I'm gonna lighten up this area a little bit. And bring some, yeah, some folds. Or the idea of folds, rather. Okay.
I feel like I need a neon sign made in my home that reads, "You don't have to do everything."
Yeah.
Like, I need that in all ways.
Yeah, right. That'd be nice. Did you get to see the portraits on the album, the different painters, which one is your favorite between the Alice Neal, Mary Cassatt, Morisot, and William Thompson, I believe?
Look at them now. I mean, I've looked at them, but let me look at them again. I love the one. I don't know who this is by, but the one of oh, is it Joan Erdley?
Oh,
Erdley, am I saying
yes.
that correctly?
Yes.
I love this one. I've seen this one before, and it's so, I just love it
Yeah.
so much.
Her
It just
work
screams
is
childhood. Yeah.
is really incredible. I agree. Her work is incredible. Incredible.
I love the Berthe Meursault too.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, I couldn't find, do you remember the painting? I believe it's in the Art Institute of Chicago, and I think it's a Manet, and
Mhm.
it's a painting of an apartment, and there's a
Okay.
little boy.
Oh, right. Yes.
I couldn't find it.
Let me, do you remember? Because I posted it, or you posted it. One of us posted it for another.
Maybe Studio Time? I don't know.
Is that it? Okay.
I don't know, but I was like trying to find it and nothing came up. I started Googling, Manet interior, boy interior, and then Monet. I thought maybe it's the O, not the A. Because that painting is
Mm-hmm.
like really also amazing and a good example of the single child. And I could not find it. I think it's in the Art Institute.
I think it is too. Someone just saw it. It was it was Laura, right? That just saw it.
I think so. I'm not sure. I think so.
But we pulled it for something. I don't know how to find it. Was it home copyist? No, no, no. Not that. It was
Yeah, I don't know.
out the window, maybe? No. What was the one that we remember, Julio, the Swedish maybe artist? It's with an H. Really, really simple work. His work is currently at the Getty. It's one of the part of the permanent collection. It's essentially like interiors that we did.
Hammershoy, Hammershoy.
Hammershoy, it's exactly it. Did we pull that particular painting?
No idea.
Still life with flowers.
But yeah. Anyhow, no,
Sorry,
don't worry.
I'll find
Yeah.
it.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, but that would have been a good example as well. Because I love that painting. It's not. I think it's not considered like one of the major pieces that he painted, and I think it was Manet. But maybe I'm mistaken. But it's one of my favorites. Just so intriguing. You cannot identify the child because it's not painted like the face. It's in the shadows, and then that figure in the background of the table, just watching, and those plants. It's just so, and the reflection of the light on the parquet. It's beyond. So I'm just adding right now I'm adding second color nodes. We're gonna run the session until 1:05. So we still have some time because we started a little bit, a few minutes after. So right now I'm just closing some gaps. I am just, just gonna bring, or kind of like fade the line that I had, that burnt sienna line. Bring some shadows. So I put very little pressure on the surface. So maybe, yeah, Lois, maybe, I don't know. And thank you. I don't know. But yeah, just gonna bring some highlights. So at this stage, the way I see it, I just want to find a conclusion to the stage that I'm at. The paint, it's very thin, it's super streaky, there's no kind of like solid coverage, but I'm fine with it. I love the way it kind of like looks, that this heavy texture. I know that I want to continue working on it, obviously, and just taking the opportunity that I would maybe polish some of the streakiness, maybe on the background, to bring more interesting color. And I am going to do some also sfumato on the legs. I want to shave this shin a little bit, so it's too thick. Oh yeah, that's good. Squinting my eyes all the time, Sfumato on this edge, sfumato on this shadow, bring in the sfumato to kind of like create more cylindric effect, darker area at the bottom of the shin, all these tiny little details that I'm looking at right now. But yeah, my brush doesn't have any fluid, essentially a little bit of paint, but I'm using it more perpendicularly than flat because I don't want to broom things. I don't want to mop my surface. A little pizzicato, a little stippling. That's what I'm doing, stippling. Popcorn style, Lois, boom, boom, boom. A little stippling, a little pizzicato to kind of like blend without rubbing, without squeegee, like dragging the paint. We're not pouring. Death before pouring. Sorry, I should explain that. I don't know. I wish I knew where. Is this Adam Schiff? I've been receiving calls from Adam Schiff recently. This is, sorry, I don't know who this is, but yeah. Let me just kind of like center myself again. Yeah, so 5 minutes. And I was just, I don't know what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about pouring.
Oh,
and you were like,
yes.
Let me be clear.
Yes, so in a social media post, I think it was on Tumblr, when Tumblr was amazing. I think it's still amazing, but it's sort of like much more artistic. And someone tattooed on their skin death before acrylic, you know, bringing together this idea of like this really dramatic sayings or statements that you can see in tattoo art, very Gothic like. And it was hilarious in the sense like, you know, obviously this person was an oil painter, and for them to kind of like tattoo death before acrylic, it just made me laugh. So apply to pouring, you know, I see workshops, with all due respect, I understand this idea of pouring, you know, let's do a pouring workshop. It just completely blew my mind in the wrong way, because instead of, you know, painting, it's lazy painting. So you kind of like pour stuff and then you move the canvas and something happens. By all means, if you've done it, I will always think highly of you. But at the same time, I cringe. It's very popular. Pouring is a very popular approach. So that's why I used this slogan, this Gothic message, death before acrylic. And I said, death before pouring. I will never, you will never see me pour and move things around. Is that wrong, Jen?
Never.
But yeah, that's the idea.
I also found the painting.
Oh, who's it by?
Claude Monet.
Who? Wait.
Monet. Monet with an O.
Oh, really?
Monet.
Okay, awesome.
It's literally called Apartment Interior. How dumb is that?
Seriously, I don't know why I couldn't find it last night. Or
I'm about to load it up.
okay, perfect. That's perfect timing because it's just so brilliant. All right, so I'm gonna take maybe a couple more minutes to do a couple of stippling areas here and there. Stippling to blend, to create this pizzicato brushstroke. A little bit more of sheen on the hair, so it looks less artificial and more the result of light reflecting on it. And also bringing some sfumato on the sfumato. Let's just kind of like end with some sfumato on the background. I'm gonna do it like Leonardo style. Finger painting, yes. Pouring, never. Pouring, no, no. I cringe. I have to clutch my pearls when I see pouring. I re-watched 1 minute. Anyhow, we'll just talk about it later. Okay, conclusion. This will be my conclusion for today. I'm really excited. Let's take a 10-minute break, take a photo, upload. I'm going to stop recording. And then later we reconvene. We talk about who's going to die and all those amazing things.
Stay tuned.
Okay. See you in 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm just gonna, it's not recording right now. Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna share. I just uploaded. Thank you, Jen. This is just beautiful.
It looks like you're still recording, babe.
I am,
I
where?
think it says recording on my end.
Okay, so,
Anybody else?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay,